Good morning. Happy Sunday to you. Coming to you live from my living room. And I tried to set up the angle so I didn't cut off her head. So, hello. And I love the feel that I can come here and share what I'm excited about and what I feel like you might be interested in. Whoever pops in, right? Whoever winds up watching this, and that's what's so kind of magical about these platforms is it's just I'm putting it out there for whoever shall arrive. So welcome to you whenever you do watch this video. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about yet another part of the yoga that now is almost part of either the good reputation of yoga or even the stereotype of yoga, right? But you hear and you even see people posting their pictures on social media, right? About feeling that yoga glow. And yeah, I even get that kind of input sometimes from people in the world, which is so wonderful to hear. But when someone like me gets asked, like, what's this glow about? It's really fun for me to look at, like, what in my lifestyle that I can call yoga, what part of that is creating this glow, right? And what is it that makes people even notice a difference in themselves where they can even see and feel the glow more, right? So I thought it would be fun to just freestyle share for you a little bit of how I see the glow comes from our yoga and why yoga's gotten this reputation for being something that can make us look good, right? And definitely feel good and have a different energy, right? And even be more like youthful and even feeling and looking ageless. And so this all goes with this yoga glow, right? And so we're talking about a glow that maybe you can see in the way you look, maybe even a brightness in the skin, right? Maybe even a lighter quality in the energy, right? And just something that might even strike other people when you come into a room, right? So that's really fun when you start to realize that that can be the effects of your practice, right? That yes, you're having an effect when you walk in a room, but how does yoga create a glow, right? And if you know me by now, you might know that one of my biggest messages that I always am here to share about yoga is that yoga just means connection, to join. So it does not have to mean the exercises, even though probably most of us, when we talk about yoga, we picture exercises, right? So yes, the exercises are one of the awesome tools of yoga, one of the parts of yoga that help us reconnect and make such changes, and even are part of creating that glow. But I always like to remind that there's all sorts of ways to experience yoga union, all sorts of practices that we can play with and build into our lives that can create more of those feelings of connection for us and in our moments, in our lives, and really even change things for us in our health and in what's happening in our even our mind and our mental health, in our mood, in our energy, and yeah, even in our lives. It totally can change what's happening in our lives as we shift and change and get into this glow. So let's sum up why is there this reputation? Why is there this thing called this yoga glow, right? Well, first of all, one of the things we can really remember with yoga reminds us that everything's energy, right? And that we're made of energy. And fortunately, finally, on the planet at this time, more of us than ever are aware of that and acknowledging that everything's made of energy, atoms are made of energy, everything is energy, right? So we start to realize that one of the big things we're doing with our yoga practices is managing our energy, right? Which is part of why it can have such an impact on our lives on so many levels. Because when we start to realize that our health, we can start to see all our health issues. We can look at even more about like energy things happening. We can look at even like emotions and mood stuff as having an energy element, right? And even what's happening in our lives having an energy element, right? Because we know how much our energy affects everyone around us, and even the law of attraction kind of aspects, right? That we draw back more of the energy we're in. So when we start to see that we're using our practices of yoga, so yeah, whether it's some of the poses that might be just right for us, use of breath, use of sound, use of things even like nature or dancing or walking or journaling, all sorts of things that can be forms of yoga. But when we're doing these things, they're helping us manage our energy. They're helping us shift our energy. They're helping us free up stuck energy, which we could also call like stored trauma. So we're doing a lot of work that's really awesome and powerful when we use any of these practices. And then you can start to imagine, one of my things I really love to share is how much more powerful it gets when we do things like this every day. And when we make a customized way that we're going to use the practices and ways that really work for us. But when we start doing it more like every day, things really kick up levels and that glow really starts to become more consistent. So it's no longer like you just feel a glow right after your practice, but more and more and more, you're in more of a glow. So right now, because you're managing your energy, you could even see it like you're refining your energy, even refining your vibration, right? And you're shedding other people's energy every time you do your practices with love, right? Knowing now that we do soak up other people's energy. So just acknowledging that as a truth in life. And then when you're doing some things more like every day, to attend to that, to free up some of that energy you might have picked up and be holding on to, even with love. But imagining how different you, your body, your mind, everything feels when you're just doing that, managing your energy, realizing that's what you're doing with some of your yoga. And that's why this glow thing starts to happen, because you're changing your energy, you're shifting your energy, you're bringing in more energy, right? You're energizing your systems. And this all translates into more glow, right? So that's one of the reasons we can see that yoga starts to create this glow. And again, more like every day, you can imagine that it just becomes like a consistent glow. But there's other ways that I see the yoga creates the glow. And yeah, some of it is just basic health stuff that we know a lot of forms of exercise can do, but a lot of these really genius poses and exercises that we can call parts of yoga, and really the ways that we're going to do these exercises are also part of what's going to create that glow. So yes, these exercises and the use of breath and the ways that we're being gentle and honoring with how we're using the exercises and practicing that with ourselves, this all is, yes, helping keep our organs healthier, helping take care of our glands, helping circulation, lymph systems. So yeah, literally we are glowing more because everything's just flowing more and in good health, and not having more of the stuck energy kind of thing that a lot of us might have going on in various ways for various reasons, and could be part of our ailments even. So yes, we are taking a lot different and better care of all our organs, all our glands, even things like hormone balance. All of this gets really shifted and taken care of when we're using our yoga of various sorts, right? Whether it's the exercises or even just anything that connects us. And then you can also imagine that if your practices are about you reconnecting with you, meaning doing more to just reconnect each day with who you are, what's true for you, getting better at honoring what's true for you, getting better at living a more intuitive life even, that this starts to create a glow too, right? That you being more in tune with yourself starts to translate into you having more of a glow, right? And it even starts to translate into how we're making choices, right? How we're moving through our days gets changed so much by the effects of our practices, which are reconnecting us, right? So reconnecting us with ourselves, reconnecting us with our bodies, our minds, our heart, our soul, also reconnecting us spiritually if we want to have a spiritual life. That's what we can see our yoga is about for sure. So you can imagine the more that you're doing to tune yourself to your feelings of spirituality, whether that's within, around you, both, how much more of a glow you're going to have too, right? When you're feeling that much more connected to the presence of that part of life, if you like that, right? So there's another way that our yoga builds the glow that is part of why yoga's gotten this great reputation, right? So it's this connection with ourselves, even the psychology shifts that we can start to make as we do just connect more with ourselves, and even adopt more of a yoga knowing too, with what we focus on grows and attention matters, and really using awareness as such a tool, but all of this too helps us make those inner changes and even helps us in our psychology that can translate into more of a glow. So all these areas, all these ways, and that's why yoga is an example of a holistic practice, right? And when we also see that yoga can be all these things and we make it just right for us, and then when you add it in more like every day, holy cow, you can start to imagine why you might start to have more of a glow, right? So a glow, yes, because you are just healthier, your systems are running better, your energy is more managed, but also a glow because you're feeling more connected. You're feeling more in tune with yourself. You're more honoring yourself as you make choices and even moving through life. And maybe you're feeling even more connected spiritually, even more connected to community, more connected to your passion, your purpose is part of what we get with these practices too. So you can start to see like all the layers of glow that we're really getting to grow, right? With our use of yoga, with building in things that connect us. And yes, using some of the exercises each day is super awesome and progressive and a really evolved way to physically have a glow and even feel a glow, right? But it's also those internal practices and the ways that we learn to manage our minds. And that's why things like journaling, any forms of meditation, all of that under the scope of yoga, all of that builds into the glow. And so, yeah. And then again, realizing that your glow does affect other people. And so the more that you're doing to tune you, it is really a loving thing you can do for you, but really one of the best ways you can help everyone you love. And then when you show up in the world, you're that much more of that glowing version of you, right? So, Kitty knocking the screen. So know that you're doing this not just for you, but for the team, as I like to say it, for the world, your world, and the planet, right? And as a way to bring more glow. We could use it now, right? And yeah, it's a lot about the simplest things that we can see are about connection. So thanks for listening, guys. I'm stoked to share what I keep realizing and why, as I like to say, it's the yoga. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Namaste.